Today we're speedrunning the Simpsons game. Now our speedrun starts with Homer sleeping on the couch and eating chocolate. And this puts him into the land of chocolate in his dreams, where he goes after a bunch of chocolate bunnies. But pretty soon he sees a white chocolate rabbit, and this one's taunting him, so he has to go actually get this guy, and it's going to be our basic tutorial, where we're just learning the basics about the game. So like right here, I can jump and double jump, make my way over there, and eat a bunch of these donuts. That way we fill up our power bar, and we can use that to use Homer's power burp, get through that stuff. After this, pretty much we're just running through all these rabbits who are chasing after us. We don't have to worry about actually taking them out, at least for now, because we're just trying to get through this level as fast as possible. Meanwhile, this rabbit is just making fun of us the entire time. But we see once we make it to this area, there's this huge cake that's just chilling there, and we're gonna have to get to the top of it. But before that, there's just gonna be more and more rabbits that are surrounding us, giving us insults all the time. We have to press that button. That way we get some cookies that come up from the chocolate lake. Thankfully, the rabbits won't actually attack you while you're waiting out one of those cutscenes. It's very nice. But I just have to wait for the cookie to come down enough. That way I can get on it. Then I do a trick where basically if there's terrain with a slight amount of tilt, then if you press backwards and do a jump, you can jump off it. And that gets us extra jumps. We're going to be using that a lot throughout the game. After that, then we go get the white rabbit. We're going to eat him, and we get our first power, which is going to be Homer's ball. And yeah, we can just use this all the time to go and kill all these rabbits, but we're not really worried about killing too many of these guys because it's pretty much just waiting for Homer to wake back up. But that's the tutorial done. And now we move on to a section where we can play as either Bart or Homer. So what I want to do is switch between the two characters and then go through this door. That way we unlock the map, and we can make our way over to Sequel Stop, which we want to bring Bart over to, and he could start this cutscene. And all that happens here is we want to buy Grand Theft Scratchy. Marge takes it away, but then the Simpsons Game manual drops from the sky, and it teaches us how to have special powers. Like for Bart, he can become the Bartman. And then we're going to the Springfield Museum of Natural History, and we're going to use our powers. So first of all, Bart, he just has a slingshot. That's not an actual power he has. He just has that. But we're going to want to make our way through these wooden crates, just destroy those, and then we have to do another trick. For this one, basically if you press the left shoulder button slightly before you do a jump, then you can get a triple jump instead of just your normal double jump. So it's actually very precise. You have barely any frames to get that, and I have messed it up a lot, but you know, slowly you get better and better at it. Anyways, we see the bullies. They're going through trying to steal stuff from the history museum, so we decide we're going to use Bart's power to stop them. And first of all, what I can do right here is jump up to this thing, and I'm going to do that trick again where I press backwards on a wall that has a bit of a slant. That way we can get a wall jump and make it up there a bit faster, because normally you would just have to climb. Then I can push that down. That gets Homer to come over there, and he can press that button, because sometimes it takes two losers to do a pressure pad. Okay, I wasn't calling them losers. That's what comic book guy said. I kind of feel bad. Anyways, we got to go over here, and we got to use all of these dinosaurs to help us go through here. So first of all, I'm going to take Homer, and we're just going to bring him up this set of stairs, doing some jumps to make us go faster. We can leave him at the top of this, and then I actually want to kill these guards. And that's because if you don't, the AI for the second person will sometimes go down and try to attack them. Because you can't control both of the people at the same time, the AI can just be really annoying with enemies. So I'm just going to make sure they're dead using Bart. Then we can put Bart on the dinosaur first. We can switch over to Homer and then use his bigger size to make sure that the dinosaur's tail stays up. Then we can use Bart, switch over to his Bartman to get a little bit of a glide, make our way over here, then hit this lever, which is going to start this volcano. And you can also get an updraft with Bart's cape. So we're going to do that as well. Go off a couple of these dinosaurs and go along this wire. And then finally, here's going to be Dolph. We can hit that target, and that's going to crash some dinosaur bones right on him. So that's the first bully done. Now we just want to go through all of these guards and make our way through here. There's going to be a lot of these guys who are just coming after us, but I don't really feel like killing them. Instead, we're going to get this power, which is Robo Bart. And this allows us to hit levers that are through walls. After this, we see Carney. He's trying to shoot at us, but what we can use is our power to actually hit those different places. And we just want to slowly move this bully over. I'm also going to deal with a couple of these guards because they can be very annoying sometimes, but I can just aim over at these targets, slowly move so the guards aren't able to attack me. They very much are trying, and they will keep multiplying if you don't kill them. So I will take a little bit of time to actually take care of them. Then for this one, we want to hit that part first, which I don't even know how I hit the bridge there, but I guess I got really lucky because you're supposed to hit the bridge, which was the middle part first, then you hit the part to the left, and then after that we can do those things, which gets it the third place, and we're just moving this guy over slowly but surely. Deal with a couple more of these guards, and then for this one, I want to hit that first target. I did miss it, but we can just get this power again. We're getting more and more guards, and you can see sometimes they take my aim when I don't want them, so I have to deal with that. And actually, really quick, I am going to deal with a couple more of these guards just to make sure that we do this final part correctly. It's very easy to get surrounded by guards. After that, we can then go over, hit the rest of these targets, and that is going to be good. Hit that TNT, that explodes that place, and just hit him, and now he's dead. Now there's only one more guy to deal with, so we're going over to this planet section. And this time, we got to go and deal with Jimbo. Of course, there are going to be more guards, but I'm not going to deal with them. Homer can fight them, I guess. Well, I come over here, and we're going to do another one of these wall jumps where we just barely are able to get it off of that. We can use our powers to go up here, and then we can do a very long jump all the way over to the globe. Just barely be able to make it there, do another wall jump, get on top of that, and that's going to open up Jimbo's little UFO thing, so we can charge up an attack, use it on him, and that takes care of him nice and easy. So yeah, we're heroes. After this, we're going to be able to be a Homer ball because now we get the powers for Homer. You have to try it out right there. And then we go over to the Duff eating contest, which is exactly as it sounds, an eating contest sponsored by Duff beer. But this is one of the most broken levels in the entire game. First of all, I'm just going to do a wall jump right there. We can switch over to our Homer ball, make our way over here, get some more food so we keep up that power, and yeah, just destroy these things, get more time. Like every time you enter a new area, it gives you a little bit of extra time. We're not going to need that time at all. Then we can do another couple of jumps right there. Sometimes the terrain looks like you're not going to be able to do a wall jump, but you still can. Just like right at this part by this door. So I want to do a wall jump. This one is actually very specific though. You got to get the perfect amount of height to get up here, but that was good. Then we can go on this lever, get another jump, and we want to aim our Homer ball very specifically so we get right over there. We get rid of it so we don't fall off. We hit this lever, which normally you would need Bart for, but we're not going to worry about that, and we're already at the end of the level. And to win this eating competition, we need that huge hamburger, so that's going to be our goal. Now what we want to do is hit this coin using our different powers. That gets rid of the ladies around the Statue of Liberty, and then we can attack it. After that, we're going to do the same thing, just smash down on that, move over, that way we can hit the part that we need to, and we just need to hit this thing 3 times. So final time, I'll go back into Homer ball, do that, smash right into it, and this time it drops the hamburger. So all we have to do is smash into the hamburger, which my first one didn't work and the second one somehow did work. I'm not going to worry about it because that's the level done. So we win the eating competition. All right, now next up is going to be the Lisa and Bart level, where we get to see Lisa's powers because yeah, everybody in the Simpsons family is going to have powers. But we don't actually start out with Lisa, and she's just going straight for those guys. Yeah, she is angry. Anyways, we're trying to take out all these people that cut down trees, so that's our basic goal. Now with Bart, I can do a wall jump right there. That way we can open up this gate much faster. We just love doing wall jumps. And then we're going to switch over to Lisa, and her powers are called the Hand of Buddha. And what you can do with that is, as long as there is a statue right there, we can move things using the hands. So we want to switch over to Bart after we move that over. And then with Bart, we can use his Bartman powers to go up here. We can knock down this thing. That way Lisa can jump up there, but then she gets taken out. Yeah, that happens a lot in this game. So we will have to find her and hopefully not die. I will pick her back up. And Lisa, you stay right there. Please do not try to fight too much. We got to get Bart over here. Keep her alive. That way we can then get her on this trampoline thing and we're good to go. Yeah, your companions, not the best fighters in the world, but they try their best. Anyways, with the powers of both Lisa and Bart, we're going to get those two saws to go together. And then it's time to skip even more of these levels. So we're going to want to go back to Bart. And there's going to be all these people just shooting us with tree parts. I don't even know what's happening. And a bunch of giant saw blades. But with these giant saw blades, we're just going to skip them because of course we can. If we come up here, what we can do is a wall jump on nothing and make it over to this part, so that's pretty funny. And then here there's a bunch more saws, but for some reason sometimes these saws don't go back and forth like they're supposed to. I don't exactly know what causes that. I think it might be the fact that we're skipping stuff, but I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, we're gonna make it over here to where there is this lever. We can jump off that to get over to this section, and now we have a pretty difficult jump where what I have to do is aim myself right here, do a wall jump off that thing, and get into this cutscene where of course we see Lenny and Carl. They're just bird watching, but while they're bird watching, they fall off here and get trapped and they're gonna die. So we gotta save them before they get into a bunch of saws, and we have a very broken way of doing that. What I'm gonna want to do with Bart first is just make a fly over there, which we fail, but then second try we make a fly over to this thing. That's pretty perfect, and then we can do a couple of wall jumps off nothing because those are invisible walls. Do a glide over to this part, which is pretty nice, and then another glide over to this part to where we're under the map. Yeah, this is a pretty fun place to be, I'm not gonna lie, so we will just keep going through here, and there's some terrain that you can't see, but it is there, so I will be jumping on different things, and I've just played this game enough to where I know where you need to go until finally we get to this section. And this skips a huge section of the level where you have to fight a bunch of people, you have to do different puzzles, and normally you see Lenny and Carl again. They're gonna be talking about how they don't want to die, but we can just save them right away by hitting this button, and yeah, we saved them. They never even knew they were in danger, but once we hit that with our slingshot, that's gonna stop this all. And yeah, we win. Now, next up, it is time for the Marge and Lisa mission, where you can see that kids are getting very violent, and that's because they've been playing the Grand Theft Scratchy game, and Marge, of course, has to stop that like the good mother she is. So what we're gonna do is use her powers, which is to create an angry mob. We can use our megaphone, get people to come with us, and then we're just gonna destroy stuff like all of these guys, but there's gonna be all these police. There's going to be people crashing into places. Yeah, the town is in complete havoc. But if you thought we were doing this level in the normal way, of course you're mistaken, because we're just going to go right through it. So what I want to do is destroy that thing, and then we can switch to Lisa. And here there's a very specific trick where we want to pick up this box and place it on the Buddha statue in that spot. That way it stands up. Then we can put a box on top of it, and with Lisa, we can jump on that box, jump on that side, and now we're above these buildings, obviously where you're not supposed to be. We can jump down here right by the police, and yeah, we're home free. Normally, you would have to create a huge mob with all of Marge's powers, but that seems like way too much work. So instead, we're just gonna run where nobody is right now. And yeah, it's pretty chill. Eventually, we make it over to this section by the bridge. And what I want to do is aim my camera there, go through this grass because there's no collision there. And we get to this section where normally you're just supposed to be like in these vents, but obviously we're not going to do it that way. And we just want to hit all of these different vent things, which since we are out of the map, it's not the best made ever. But eventually we are able to do it, and we can get this one as well, which for this one, since I'm not too worried about going out of bounds or anything, I can just run into it, making it a bit easier. We teleport up, but that doesn't matter. We heat up the hot tub for the mayor and the EA executives. So the EA executives are like, hey, maybe we shouldn't release this game. Mission successful. Now after this, the Simpsons family is talking about what they did and arguing about who did more important things. But while we're talking about this, the aliens come down and start destroying everything, like causing the donuts guy to become a monster. And that means we got to get more powerful power-ups, so we're going to use Bart and Lisa to do so. We decide to go over to the house of Professor Frink and then go in this machine, which puts us in a video game. But as soon as Professor Frink is about to help us, he gets taken by Donkey Kong, and yep, we gotta go save him. Thankfully, we do get one page, and this gives us the Bartman grapple, which is one power-up that we can use for this level. And this just helps us go through the terrain a little bit better. So I can use that with Bart, hit this lever, that's gonna open up this other pipe, that way Lisa can get through. And she can just go through this pipe while we see all these poor video game characters like Sonic, who is not doing the best. But with Lisa coming over here, we can just do some normal two-player stuff where we get them both on some buttons, and that opens up that pipe. Now for this next part of the level, we see Donkey Kong at the very end just kind of chilling with Professor Frink. And it's pretty simple stuff right here where I want to jump through there, use our Bartman grapple to get over to that spot, hit this lever which gets rid of all of those barrels. And there's going to be some football guys who are trying to take care of us, but I'm not too worried about them right now. Instead, I will just keep hitting these levers, keep allowing us to go through the stage. But Donkey Kong says, nah, I'm out of here, because of course he has to make this very difficult. Now I can use some Bartman grapple over to this section. We can hit this lever, and that's going to allow Lisa to come to this spot as well, which she actually moved by her own for a little bit, so I do appreciate that. But these football guys are very annoying. They can just knock you into things, and they have a long range attack with their footballs, so you do have to keep track of that. But with Lisa, what I'm going to do is just move over all of these guys and put them in their correct spots. It's pretty simple stuff. You just have to move them. And once that's done, we should be good, which there goes that gear. Okay, yeah, that was kind of bad. I guess I didn't put them in the perfect spots, and there was another one that wasn't in a good spot, so we don't have to talk about that. Sometimes this game's collision is not going to be the best. Okay, we'll just put it there. Does that work? And there we go. Now we got the gears working. So we can switch back to Bart, just make our way through all these football guys, hopefully not get put into that green goo because these guys are jerks. But this is going to lift up all of this stuff, and yeah, pretty easy way of getting that done. So I can go through this pipe. Now next up, there is going to be this spot, which literally all you have to do is just climb this wall, and it's very slow. We'll do this with Bart first, get him over to the button, and unfortunately we can't switch to Lisa because then Bart will go go back to the beginning section. Like, the AI is just kind of awful in this game sometimes, so we just have to slowly wait for her. By the way, for this level, there are a bunch more skips that you can normally do, but a lot of them are very difficult. So if you do want to see more of this game, like usual, I will leave the world record in the description, so I do recommend checking that out. While I am doing a lot of the skips and tricks from this game, there's still a lot more, so yeah, it's a very cool run. Anyways, we're gonna take Lisa, and this time in this room, we just gotta get rid of those pipes. That way we can see these different bridge parts and get those up to the correct area. And here, there's also another big skip that you can do, but it's very precise, and instead, I'm just gonna do this way, where we get Clobber Girl. She's gonna be invincible, and that's pretty much the only reason we wanted her, so we don't have to worry about all these people trying to take care of us. So we can go straight over here. We're gonna pick this up, which gives us Lisa's super saxophone, which makes enemies attack each other when we use our saxophone on them. And I just realized we haven't even used the saxophone at all yet. We've only used the Hand of Buddha. I forgot that was also a power that she does have, but you know, it doesn't really matter. So we're gonna come over here, just barely dodge that football guy. And these guys, if you're not careful, will very much damage you, kill you, and just restart you from the beginning of the level. So I'm gonna be careful that that doesn't happen. Like, those football guys, these EA guys are just scary. We barely dodge out of the way of that. That was insane. And we gotta make our way through here, which I should be pretty safe at this point. Now, normally there are those doors where these people are coming from, and you would want to shut them off. That way there won't be any more enemies, but I'm speedrunning, so I gotta go as fast as possible. We can't worry about those guys. Anyways, we're going through this pipe. Pretty good rim. Then up here, we have another very short level where all we're gonna want to do is use our slingshot, kill Sonic, and yeah, that gets rid of all this green goo. Sometimes they have very long sections, and sometimes they have sections like that. It's interesting, but yeah, just through another pipe. And at this point, we're almost to the end of this level, so that is nice, because this level, it's a stressful one. There's so many ways you can die, but with this part, I want to jump off of these new things. We can climb up this pole and then jump on this trampoline guy. That brings us up here, and we want to make our way to this part where as soon as I see that autosave, I'm actually going to pause and exit game. And that's because it's actually faster, or at least I think it's faster, to pause and exit game than go back in, because that will bring Lisa right to us instead of having to do the platforming normally. Because Lisa can't do the same platforming we did. She would actually have to do it the correct way, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do now is bring Bartman over here. I can go on top of this guy. Meanwhile, all these people are just throwing footballs at me. And we also do see Donkey Kong over there, but I'm not too worried about it. And we're just going to go through these guys, make sure we don't get hit by them, because they are an instant kill. And with Bart, we can go over to this section and go on top of this platform. Then with Lisa, pretty simple stuff. We just want to go straight until finally we make it over to this ladder and we can start jumping up that. And this is a very basic puzzle where you just want to move these things over. That's going to cause a claw to go down, so we can use our grapple hook, make our way over there. And there's only 2 of these guys, so we have to do this very slowly until finally we can get to the top one. Also, what the heck? How did that thing not actually get stopped? Okay, it's just like that. It's pretty simple stuff. By the way, while I am doing a lot of tricks for this game, there are still a lot that I just can't do. They're too hard. So definitely check out the world record after this video. Like usual, link will be in the description. Finally, we get on top of this one, and that gives us more than enough height to be able to make this huge jump all the way to this lever, and we can push that, and that's going to open up this spot, which has 2 buttons. So just like usual, we want to run our way over. I am going to switch to Lisa because we are going to need her next, and hopefully Bart will just go straight on that button. I do appreciate that. I was worried he was going to go and fight, and then I would have had to wait for him, or he would have died or something. But now it's time for the final section of this level, and here we have a very cool skip where what I'm going to want to do is do a bunch of these wall jumps, just chain them to make our way up here. And this is a spot where obviously normally you're not supposed to be. There's not going to be collision like on that stuff. And here we can go onto this thing, do a jump there, and we want to do a couple of wall jumps on nothing, which I actually missed the second one. But we can do that nice and easy, make some jumps over to this spot, see all this football stuff, and we want to get another new power up, which is going to be Lisa's power flick. And here we just want to wait for one of these dudes to come up to us. There was a football guy who was very much trying to murder us, but I did get lucky there. And that's going to open up another one of these pipes, which means it's going to be boss fight time. And this is a pretty fun boss fight. So first of all, I am going to want to be Bart, and I'm going to want to destroy these boxes. That way we can get his robo powers, and we can use those to take care of any of the guys that come towards us. Not too much to say about this part, just shooting them. Once we get about 4, that's where I usually like switching over to Lisa, and we can use her power flick. And we're just going to wait until we see that Donkey Kong is going to come forward, and we can hit him with the power flick. that does 1/3 of his damage. Now he's gonna chill in the back, so again, I just have to go. And this time we're gonna use Lisa's powers. That way we can deal with more of these enemies. You don't want to just stay on Lisa's Buddha powers because she will lose her charge very fast, but we do need to because we did lose all that stuff. So hopefully I can deal with these guys before they just murder us. Get out of my way, and we get Donkey Kong the second time. Now we can switch back over to Bart, get his powers again, and do pretty much the same thing, this time just with way more people. That is why we want to be invincible with these powers. And finally, we should get the ape to come forward. We can go put him in the green goo, and we save Professor Frink. Now after this, Professor Frink does decide to stay back here because he found a new lovely girlfriend, but he does give us all the different powers for our different people. So this time, now we're going to go to a level with both Homer and Bart, and now we have helium powers for Homer. So that's pretty nice. We can use that in a couple of different spots, but this level is very annoying because as you can see, there are tons of aliens everywhere, and we obviously want to skip them. I don't want to waste my time actually fighting them. So first, we'll use our Homer powers, and with the helium, you can go through large gaps very easily, and we want to push these levers. That way we can also have a way for Bart to make it over. So with this second lever, that should be good. We can see that Bart is healing up, so that means he can't get hurt, because when you're dead, at least you can't get hurt anymore. So he just barely has enough health. We get shot. There are so many people coming after us, and the game doesn't want me to use my powers right there, but we get very lucky. Otherwise, I would have just had to wait for a while, and you know, that's not great for a speedrun. So I'm just gonna make sure I don't get hit by any of these guys, or at least try my best not to. Just keep jumping. If you keep jumping, they probably can't hit you. And we'll use Bart's Bartman powers to glide over there, make our way over here as well. And yeah, a little bit annoying, but at least we got that section done. And by going onto this spot, eventually Homer will also come over here. Please, Homer. All right, there you are. Sometimes they just take a while. But this puts us into a little video game where we got to prevent the aliens from making it to the bottom. And for this, the best way of doing so is using Bart and using his slingshot powers, where you just deal with all the aliens. Not too much to say. They are going to shoot back, so we do have to make sure we don't die or anything, but you know, pretty simple stuff. And finally, with this last one, I don't even know what Homer's trying to do, by the way. He's just standing there and kind of being in the way, taking hits every once in a while, but you know, we still love Homer. And after this, I will switch back to him. That way we can make our way over to this light faster. And that puts us on the alien ship where we see Cletus, and we're going to help him out. Now, after a short cutscene, Cletus is going to want to help us take out the aliens, and he's got a shotgun. And now this section of the level can be very annoying sometimes, so I will have to be careful. What I want to do is hit into these eye things twice. And you don't want to use too many of your boosts because you will lose your powers very fast if you keep using them. So I am going to be careful about this and just try not to get hurt. You can see that Bart is already dead. Come on, Bart. But I just want to make sure that I'm playing this well and not getting hit, because I have died here before and you just got to restart stuff and it's just dumb. So I'll be going through here, hitting that one. Bart, please help me. Just take people as distractions. You can see we're out of power, but it will charge back up as we wait. So I'm going for this 2 times and we get that section done. That was actually really good. That's going to open up a button for us, so that's nice. And all we have to do is make our way over to that thing, hit it, and we beat the level. This also reveals that Sideshow Bob is working with the aliens, but he gets hit in the face by a rake, so pretty easy to deal with him. And now our next level is going to be with Bart and Lisa, where we got to deal with all these dolphins. Yeah, the aliens turn dolphins evil for some reason. I don't exactly know. I don't think the continuity of this game is the most important in the world. Anyways, we got a couple of things we have to do with Bart. First of all, I am going to come to this ship. We can hit that, and Lisa's going to come down. Thankfully, she didn't get soft locked. Sometimes when you're playing this game, if Lisa goes on that rope, she'll just get soft locked there and won't move off of it. It's happened to me multiple times, and we do need her for this section, so thank you for actually not doing that for once, Lisa. Anyways, we want to come over to this section where what we can do is use our power flick to move over that stuff, move those guys, and use those as a path for us. We have to do this with 3 different signs, so there's going to be our second one, and here is going to be the third one, which is this fresh tuna sign, so that's pretty nice. We want to switch over to Bart, which he just barely wasn't able to die, but why is he over here? Bart, I'm clearly not in this section. I guess at least you didn't die. That's just the fun part of playing this game without having someone with you, because technically it is a 2-player game. But anyways, now we have a jump that we have to do. So I'm going to come over here and we want to dodge out of the way of this guy, just barely be able to make that jump and, you know, skip that whole part. That puts us over here. We can go on the zip line with the Bartman. We hit that lever. That's going to open up this section and we can go over here, to where now we have to deal with the Dolphins captain. You can see he's just got the crown on. He thinks he's so cool, but we do have a way to deal with him. First of all, I am going to take care of a couple of these Dolphins, just getting rid of them before switching to Lisa. And with her, what I'm going to want to do is use my saxophone powers on a couple of these guys. That way they'll fight each other, because we really don't want Bart to die here, if that can be preferred. And I want to come up here with Lisa so we can get the Hand of Buddha. And then with this, we're going to move over this jellyfish thing, get it electrified, and then move it to this section where it's going to go in that pool and make that pool electrified. Then with Bart, we can come over here, we can get his robo power, and that moves down the Dolphin King. So now he's in the water and he gets electrocuted. And we want to do this 3 times, but thankfully, since we can be fast enough, we can do this all in the same cycle. So I just want to, as fast as possible, keep moving this stuff over, hit that dolphin the 3rd time, and that takes care of him. So, second part done. And now for the 3rd part of the alien invasion, we have this dude, which of course is this big donuts guy. And we want to start off with Bart. This is going to be a Bart and Homer mission, and I want to get this guy to stop moving over. Dude, you're being very annoying. But finally, we can actually hit him in the back, and that's going to open up his weak point. So we want to bring Homer over here. He can jump up. We can press that button, and that deals with the obvious weakness. Of course, we got to get video game guy over here, and we want to get a couple of snacks. That way we can be Homer Ball, and we just want to move forward. To do this level as fast as possible, you do want to be ahead of the monster. So I want to come over here, get on top of these gates, wait for this guy to move over, and then hit him with our burp power, which unfortunately didn't work right there. Yeah, I missed his weak point, and I guess we got to use Bart at this point. Not the biggest deal, because at least Bart wasn't just attacking random people. So we just want to hit him with our slingshot. That works out pretty well. Then we have to come up to the side of him, do some wall jumps off of his arm, which is kind of annoying. And then somehow I messed that up. We don't have to talk about it. But second time is the try. That is going to be the second part of the boss fight. And then just like last time, I do want to go to where this dude is going to be eventually. But I do want to stop by Krusty Burger. That way we can get some more powers. I will take all of those burgers. And then we're going to come over to this section. And we want to charge up one of our burps, come on top of this fence, or I guess this fence now. And we're going to wait for this dude just a little bit, hit him directly in the face to hit his weak point. And again, we're going to do this thing where we want to jump off of his arms. So I just have to actually do this right. Sometimes this game is just very annoying, but finally we get it. We take off that and we defeated the boss. But now the family comes back together. Unfortunately, the aliens are still a problem. So we decide to look online for more powers, but Homer puts his beer on the computer and we get transported into the internet. And once we're here, we see the creator of The Sims, I guess, and he's destroying copies of an old Simpsons game. And this old copy has old versions of ourselves, so we gotta save them. Now in the world record, there is a very cool skip you can do for this level, but for me, it takes longer to try to do the skip than just doing the level normally. So we're gonna do this the normal way. What I wanna do with Homer is go right here, destroy through that wall, then we can switch over to Bart, and yeah, it's just some 2-player stuff right at the beginning. We can take out our slingshot, we can hit that thing. Meanwhile, this EA guy, the entire time is just flying around on his Sims mobile, and I just wanna make sure that Homer is following me, because just like usual, sometimes this AI does not like doing what it should do. And we can come up here with Bart, use our grapple hook to make it over there, then switch over to Homer. And with him, I just want to use my power ball to make it over to that section. And we can do the same for this part, make it onto this trampoline and get us onto a higher section. Then Bart, pretty much same thing. We just want to use his hook. And once they're both up here, all we got to do is hit some buttons. So just like last time, we do pretty much the same stuff. We use our hook and then we use Homer's power ball. Now, once we both are able to get over here and on these buttons, that's going to open this door. We can make our way over to this lever, hit that, and we get the time trial from video game guy. Also, by the way, I know sometimes I'm calling him comic book guy and sometimes video game guy. You know, it's a video game. Don't worry about it. Anyways, we save our old selves. And now it is time to get another health upgrade and we get new powers. So first of all, I'm going to come over here with Homer and we're going to get an upgrade where we get Gummy Homer. And this is a very good upgrade because it just completely takes care of people very easily. And next up is going to be Lisa. With her, she's going to get some power upgrades to her Hand of Buddha. And with this, we can both shock people and we can also freeze them. So 2 very useful stuff. I'll just make sure I kill all of those guys. Next up for Bart, he gets a wrist rocket and a super cape. There's nothing you actually have to do to try those things out. And that's the same thing for Marge, where all she does is get a more powerful megaphone. So pretty cool. And now there are 4 different levels of video games that EA EA wants to make, and we got to go through them, and pretty much we're trying to cancel all these new video games because the Simpsons characters don't want to be in video games. And the first spin-off is going to be Grand Theft Scratchy, where we got Lisa and Marge. And now this level is usually one of the longest levels, if not the longest level in the game. You can see that we have to fix up 16 houses before we get to the boss, and that's a lot. That would take way too long. So thankfully, we have a different strategy than doing that, but this is probably one of the hardest tricks, or at least one of the most inconsistent tricks in the entire game. So first of all, what we want to do is just jump up here, do a wall jump off that thing, and make our way over to this section. So we do that with Marge first, switch over to Lisa, hopefully don't get murdered, that was very close, but pretty much exact same thing with her, where we just want to do a wall jump. And now with both of them over here, what we want to do is get Marge's power up, that way we are a little bit stronger, and we want to take care of a couple of these vans. These are a place where enemies will respawn from, and we only want enemies to respawn in this section in certain places. So I'm going to destroy the ones that we don't need, then we can switch over to Lisa, we can get her powers, destroy this van as well, as long as all of these people I don't want to deal with. They're very annoying enemies, by the way. You can see they just keep backing up and shooting at you, so they can be very stupid. But now it is time for one of the most annoying tricks in the game. So what I'm going to want to do is freeze a bunch of these people first, and that's pretty much so they stop shooting at me. Then I want to go over to this police car, we're going to destroy that, and we're going to get this building part. And normally this would be one of the buildings you're supposed to fix up, but instead we have a different thing we're going to try to do. So I'm going to take this ice and we're going to hit the ice with the building, and you can see that that starts making an ice bridge. And we have to hit 4 different parts of the water to make a long enough ice bridge to actually be able to go through. But that is very much easier said than done. The biggest issue with this is you don't have the best camera view, so I can try to hit that, but I don't even know if that hits anything most of the time. For that one, we were able to see the ice. We can see we got the first part of it, but I just want to keep going. We hope that hits something, but did it? I have no idea. And also sometimes Marge isn't doing her job and just lets these people attack me. Come on, Marge, you got to do something. But we only have 2 parts of this ice bridge so far, so yeah, I just have to do this until it's done. The main version of this speedrun is actually New Game Plus, where you start off with all your different powers and stuff and can do any level at any time. And most people start with this level as their very first one. That way they can get the most annoying level out of the way first. But I can't do that obviously because this is a very new game. So yeah, I'll let you know when this is done. And that one barely works. All right, that was the craziest shot of my life. So finally, with the ice bridge done, we can switch back to Marge. And what we want to do is get a bunch of these guys and get them in our mob. And yeah, I just want to go through, get some more of these people. We do want a couple more though. Right now, we only have 4. So I will take a bit of extra time to come over here, destroy that thing, get these 3 guys, and 7 should be enough. Also, Lisa is on the ground. Dead. Come on, Lisa. All right, this is a little bit annoying, but I'm going to come over here. We're going to pick her up because we do actually want her. And hopefully, guys, why are you going over there? I didn't even tell you to do that. They just felt like destroying them. Anyways, now we have our whole army. We should be good. It probably wasn't even worth it to go and get Lisa because all I want her for is a very small thing. Literally, all we use her for is right here where I can use my saxophone powers, get those guys to basically take each other out. But whatever. We got that done. Now we can switch back to Marge, and she still has all 7 of her people. And we want to go over to this store where we're going to use these people to fix it up. And this isn't part of the normal 16 things you're normally supposed to fix up. This is like after you fix up the 16 things, you make the ice bridge because it makes it a little bit easier to actually do it. And yeah, we were basically able to complete this level without fixing up any of the houses you're normally supposed to, which is really funny. But now we have our boss fight, and it's going to be another thing where you just have a couple of waves, and pretty much all we have to do is use the hand of Buddha to drop on all of these cats, and yeah, just do this over and over again, exploding them. Not too much to say about this boss fight. It's pretty simple stuff. We just have to do it for 3 waves. The only real strategy is dropping the barrels a bit ahead of these different cats because the explosions do last a while, sometimes hitting 2 of the cats at the same time. But yeah, it's a pretty simple fight, I'm not gonna lie. And once we deal with all of the different waves, we will be good. We can switch off of Lisa and go into Marge. And with her, we're gonna want to use our megaphone powers after waiting a second, get all of the people behind us because now we have a total of 20 people that are behind us like you're normally supposed to have if you do the level correctly. I only got 17 of them, but that doesn't really matter because 17 is more than enough to come over to this stage and we can start destroying it. And yeah, pretty good stuff. Which after all that, we get this key card, and that's one of the 4 key cards we have to do to get to the big boss. Now next up, it's time for Homer and Lisa to have a level. And for this one, we're going to want to use Homer first of all to jump on these things and just keep moving himself over. and we're going to want to come to this ledge, but not go too far, because then we actually want to go into the river and die. And basically all that does is it respawns us past a cutscene trigger, so we don't have to hit a cutscene. It's a pretty short cutscene, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, it is a nice thing to actually be able to skip. And now we're going to completely break this level. We can come up here, we can switch over to our Homer ball, make it over to that spot, do a couple more jumps, make it to here, and yeah, now we're completely out of the map. So instead of having to do a bunch of stuff that you normally would have to do for this level, we just come straight to the end, and now it's time for a little bit of like a boss fight area. I guess this isn't technically a boss, it's more of like the pre-boss, where we're gonna make our way over to the ship. And this part is literally just an auto-scroller, where we have to stay on this ship long enough for it to get up to that pink cloud. And to start off this fight, what I'm gonna wanna do is deal with a bunch of these sumo guys. So we're gonna use this new power for Homer, which makes him invincible, and we just completely destroy all of these people. And I'm just taking care of everyone I see. Lisa was also able to deal with one of them, so I appreciate it. And then we're gonna switch to Lisa. Now, the most important thing for this fight is the sumo guys, if you leave them unchecked, they're gonna break the engines of the ship. And if enough engines are broken, then the ship is gonna stop, it's gonna get to the pink cloud in a longer amount of time, so we don't wanna have that happen. And that's why we do like Lisa here, because we can use her powers to freeze these guys, making sure no one else is going to spawn. And I am going to try to get some more powers. The only problem with the Hand of Buddha is that, of course, it uses a lot of your power. So every time we do use it, we can't use it as much later on. So I'm trying to destroy some stuff, get some more power if possible. But yeah, there's only so long you can actually do this strategy for. So I'm just going to do it as long as I can. There's going to be this guy. We can get him and a couple more guys, but we're out of our power. So they're going to start going over towards the engines, which is kind of annoying, but at least we can switch over to Homer, get him into Gummy Homer, which then he gets hit. And what is this guy doing? All right, anyways, we can just fix the engine by hitting those levers, so it's not the hardest thing in the world. And for the rest of this level, I'm just going to be Homer. And pretty much, I just want to prevent people from stopping these engines as much as possible. So Gummy Homer is very good for that because he just one-shots them. But we can also get taken out if we're not careful. Please get up, Homer. There goes one of the engines, and these guys, they're also very annoying with their hits. But before dealing with the people right in front of me, I do have to deal with anything that has to do with an engine. We're over halfway there, and then we fall off. Sorry about that, Homer. All right, anyways, we're over halfway there. We just got to keep going. At least we spawn back. Homer doesn't die forever. And here is where the level gets more and more chaotic, where more engines are going to start getting shut off. There's more people. I'm trying to deal with that dude. He somehow survives. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about him. And I also want to make sure I don't die, especially because Lisa is low on health as well. But we can keep hitting these guys. And yeah, you pretty much get the general game plan. And finally, after staying on this ship long enough, we make it over to the cloud. And all we have to do from here is use Homer to make our way to this spot where we see Sherry and Terry, who are going to be our final boss. You can see we get this very cool cinematic where it is these combos against each other. They're a unicorn for some reason, but we're going to start it off with a Homer burp. That deals with 1/3 of their health. Then we can use the freeze power with Lisa. That again deals with 1/3 of their health. Then after that, they're able to use an attack and they stomp us. That hits Lisa for a bit of health, but honestly not too much. So we can use another burp, and that's going to get them down to no health. Then all we have to do is use a summon with Lisa, and this goes and summons a robot for some reason. So the robot just goes up to the unicorn and explodes. Easy stuff. So that's going to be our win, and we get the key card from Millhouse because he was the main bad guy for this part, even though we never saw him because we skipped all that stuff. And yeah, anyways, next up, it is time for the mission with Bart and Homer, which is the war mission. So it starts off with us going in here and getting another cutscene. And what we want to do for this first part of the mission is just capture all of these white flags. There are going to be some that people are carrying and we have to hit them, and there are other ones that are just by people's buildings and stuff, but we have to capture 24 of these white flags. And yeah, that's just the most important stuff. And normally, like usual, you'd want to use both of your people to do so. You know, a combo between both Homer and Bart. But of course, I'm just going to use Homer because that seems easier, and I don't even know where Bart is right now. So what I can do is I went down there, I can jump on top of this building, I can get a couple of these flags. There's going to be a flag over there, and there's also going to be this flag, which is by this part of the building. That's going to be 11, and that means I do have the right amount so far. We can hit that. That's going to give us a donut, give us some more powers. And then what we want to do is a big jump over there. There's also going to be these 2 more flags, just getting those 2. And I can do a jump over to this thing from that tree, do a jump from this thing. Normally, of course, you want to use Bart, but instead we'll just use Homer. We can do a couple jumps up there to aim our Homer ball right at that flag, use a boost, and we're good to go. Then over here, there's going to be another person that's carrying it, so I'm going to try to stomp into him, but he's being very annoying. There, we dealt with him. Jump up to this thing, go through these spots. I seriously have no idea where Bart is. Oh wait, there he was in the bottom right of the screen. That was funny. He was fighting somebody, but only a couple more of these guys to go, so I'm going to take those dudes. Before we have to do this thing where we use a boost all the way on top of this building. This is normally not how you're supposed to get on top of this building, but it's slightly faster, and that's because there's that guy right over there. Then we just have to drop down where there's going to be two more. There's this one, and there's one more flag, so we take that as well, and that's the first mission done. Now, while we were getting all of those flags, Grandpa Simpson and Mr. Burns, who is actually under Grandpa Simpson in this level, were getting a bunch of paintings. Mr. Burns convinced them, hey, we need to get these paintings. Definitely not so we can steal them and sell them and make a bunch of money. So now we have to transport these paintings, and to do that, we're using Homer, and we're just destroying all of these guys that are trying to take out our truck. And this is a pretty easy section. The only real problem with it is your powers. You can see that we don't really have that many powers, so I'm being very conservative with them. I don't want to use them too much because I do want to use my powers for the gummy Homer, and sometimes these guys take 2 hits instead of 1. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, we can't go too fast here just because we're low on power, but pretty much all it is just following a fairly easy guide, and eventually you make it over there. Like right here, there's going to be this dude. I wait for this guy to charge up. We hit him twice. Then there's going to be this guy. Again, we wait for it to charge up. He's just completely destroying us, but he's also very weak. And finally, to finish out this section of the level, we just have to destroy this tank first, which I'm actually going to punch it because, you know, Homer just has that power to punch a tank to death. And then for this next one, we do that, and that's the mission success. So our transport vehicle is able to go forward, and we secured the paintings. But unfortunately, Mr. Burns decides to betray us and take the paintings for himself so he can sell them. And because of that, we got to get them back, and we make our way over to this ship. You can see Mr. Burns is at the very top of it. Meanwhile, Grandpa Simpson is trying to attack him, but Grandpa Simpson isn't actually going to do any of the work. It's going to be all us, so that's kind of funny. Anyways, what we want to do right here is first switch over to Bart, and we can just do a double jump into one of our glides. And since our gliding power is so much better now, since we got the upgrade for it, it's not even a problem to make it over there. Now we can switch over to Homer, and what we want to do is use some explosives on this door. Homer's the only one in this level who does have those explosives, so we have to go over there, fall into the ocean, because, you know, that's just kind of fun. Anyways, after that fun time just having a pool party, I want to push those things down, and I do want to make this jump over here straight to the second guy onto this bouncy pad, and then we can put some more explosives right there. Meanwhile, we have to wait for Bart. You can't switch to Bart while they're on like one of those poles or anything for some reason, so we do have to wait for him to just do his thing. But eventually he makes his way over here. We can start gliding up there, and that puts us into a short cutscene where basically all that happens is a ship crashes down, and that's a platform we can now use. So at this point, we're just going to leave Homer. We don't really need him anymore, and we can take Bart over here to where we're going to start jumping on this stuff, missing that. We don't have to talk about it, but then jumping up here, missing it again. Okay, maybe we do have to talk about it at some point, but anyways, we're good to go now, and yeah, that's what we have to do. And it's pretty much just some basic platforming for the most part, making it through all of these guys who notice us way too late. And then we come to this section, and this is a very hard wall jump where what you have to do is with a very annoying camera, just keep wall jumping up there. I guess it's not very hard, but it's more hard than our normal wall jumps. And we can glide all the way up here where we see Mr. Burns. He's ready to fight, but he's not actually ready to fight because after that cutscene, we just hit him with a single hit of our slingshot and we're good to go. So with that done, we now get a painting and we get the key card from it. Now it's time for our very last one of these video game missions before we get onto our main boss. And for this one, we start out with Marge, who's using her power to get all of these guys to come together because we have to take out a dragon, which is the 2 heads of her sisters. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to get enough of these guys. Meanwhile, we can take over Homer, and we're going to want to be fast with this where we can hit this dragon. It starts going down. You kind of feel bad for it, but then you realize how awful her sisters are. So we're going to bring all these guys and we got to punch them. They do a good amount of damage. Meanwhile, we can punch too. Just help out a little bit. But you can only do about a third of her health before she spins around and goes to the next part. Now, while she's doing that, I am going to make sure I get some more people with us, get a nice angry mob. And we want to be very fast with this one You can't take too much time, otherwise she's going to move to a new location, but we were able to hit her again. And just like last time, we bring all of our mob to go attack it. This time we have even more people, so it's going to do more damage faster. But just like last time, we can only get another third. And then with Homer, one more time, I just want to come over here, use one of our power boost right there, and then Marge can go defeat her sisters just as easily as you think so. So yeah, good stuff. They do go back up though and hit us one more time and fly away. So we got to deal with them in more situations. Now we're going to head into this cave section where we want to use Homer, and just like usual, we're going to completely break this part of the level. I mean, I guess not completely break, at least this part. There will be a part that we completely break, but for this one, we're just going to use that momentum to come straight up here, and it's going to allow us to go a bit faster. I guess, yeah, completely break was very much an over exaggeration, at least for this part. And now right here, I do want to destroy this thing of skulls because I feel like before it's kind of messed me up when I've kept it alive. And we want to go onto this button and just hope that Marge will come over towards us, because sometimes she will, sometimes she won't. Obviously, we can't switch to Marge because then Homer's gonna start going over towards her, and I had to at that point. She was taking so long. But okay, yeah, you can see that Homer leaves the button for some reason, and that's why we don't really like switching characters, but sometimes you gotta do it. And this puts us into this top-down view where we're gonna switch over to Homer and just keep using his Homer ball. And it's pretty easy stuff. We just pick up a key, then we'll bring that key over to this locked door, get through that, and go down into a deeper section. Pretty much exact same thing for this part. There's gonna be this key. We go over towards here. We break through that wall. There's going to be a bunch of these dudes, but I just don't really worry too much. I can actually take out a couple of them. That way we get some more power. It might be nice. And yeah, Marge is doing something. She's doing a lot of fights, but I don't have time to deal with that. And now for the last part of this level, what I want to do first of all is just destroy these two house things. That way we can hit these buttons and get both of our people on them, opening this door. And we want to make it into this dragon, but of course we have a very funny way of doing so. So first of all, we're going to come up here and we're going to get into Helium Homer, and we want to get on top of this door frame, so I have to aim myself very specifically and mess it up the first time. But second time is the try, so I just want to go right there. That's perfect. And then we go into a Homer ball, so we get into a spot where there's weird collision, and basically we go on top of the ceiling. So we are above everything. There's a bunch of weird collision. We don't want to fall down, so I will be very careful with my movement. And then we can come over here where I actually got knocked over. Okay, that is kind of bad. Should be fine though. I think we just have to go back over to this section and then do that. And yeah, all right, we're good now. Anyways, as I was trying to do the first time, we come over to here and then we're going to drop down because there's going to be no more collision, but we stop right there. We want to do a jump so we don't get dropped even further. We can come over towards the back of this dragon, hit the loading screen, and we're good to go. So now it's time for the actual boss fight, where for this, we want to use Helium Homer and we just want to hit them in the head a couple of times. So that's going to be time number 1. Meanwhile, Marge is doing who knows what. Not really much, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, pretty much exact same thing. I just want to hit them in the head. They will move, and I unfortunately lose my helium power. I feel like that actually happens pretty often because I just play kind of badly, but there we go. We hit them a second time, I think. And now we get the egg wave, where all you have to do is just collect a bunch of eggs, but pretty easy stuff with that. And for the final wave, we don't have platforms anymore, and we just want to do the exact same thing where come on, man. I just missed their head twice. It's fine, though. You know, third try is the time. We hit them. They do hit us into the lava, but it's fine because we hit them and they're still going to die while we're also getting respawned, which is really funny. So they drop into the lava and that's the boss done, meaning that's our 4th key card. And now it's time to use these key cards over on this gate and open it up for the boss, Matt Groening. So yeah, after tons of cutscenes, that was a very long cutscene, we can actually play the game. And yeah, there's going to be a ton of money everywhere and limos, all this kinds of stuff. And Matt Groening does not want to stop making video games of us because he doesn't like us very much. So we got to stop him and we got to destroy all of his limos first of all. That way we can open up a gate. Then we're going to come over to his main door, and you can see that you have to do one of these puzzles where you just have to follow the lights. And I'm just going to let you hear the final one.
I could be this rich, I just choose not to be.
Yeah, it's the Simpsons theme. Kind of fun. But now for this actual fight, Matt Groening does not want to stop. So what he's going to do is send out characters from Futurama to try to attack us, like Bender's over there. And what we have to do is just hit those bells and close the curtains. I think this is supposed to symbolize, like, you know, he wants a bunch of attention. So if we close the curtains, then he doesn't have that attention anymore, maybe. So like right here, we're going to take Bart over. We're going to do a huge glide all the way over to this part. Meanwhile, he's just making more and more enemies. But if we hit that lever, then he loses his spotlight, I guess. And meanwhile, Homer did die because there are just so many different Zoidbergs and Benders all over the place. But we have to use Homer's power again. I want to use that. It didn't work because I was at too much of an elevation there. So that was kind of annoying. Please get out of my way, Bender. But that's going to be the next part. And this time Bart died because my characters just like dying over and over again. But we can go pick him up right here. And I am going to put Homer on this section of the map. So hopefully he dies there. Meanwhile, time for some more Bart stuff. I just want to keep going up this spot. And we do a huge jump all the way over to this lever. And just like usual, we can hit that. That closes the curtain, and we only have to deal one more hit of damage to Matt Groening. That's going to lift up this entire section, and this is why I wanted Homer to be on the middle section, because that means we can finish out this fight very easily by just going over here, using our power, hitting him down, and we destroy him. But Matt Groening decides to destroy the video game and escape because he's a jerk. But we are able to make it out, or at least most of the people are able to. And now we make a tower up to heaven. Here we try to get in there, but Shakespeare decides to stop us. And that means we have to kill Shakespeare. Yeah, this is something that happens in the game. So what we're gonna do is just use different powers. Like for Bart, we can use one of those things where we use a superpower slingshot charge and do a good amount of damage to him. I'll try to do some more slingshots, but we actually run out of power. So we can knock through some of this stuff, and I guess we can go to Homer. Because Homer can also use his gummy powers, but those are kind of inconsistent, at least more so than the slingshot powers, which is why I don't love using them as much. But it's a pretty simple boss fight. I just have to keep shooting at this dude. We'll go over there. I'm trying to aim at him, but sometimes the game doesn't want you to, and he just has the tiniest bit of health left. So we'll switch back to Bart. We can start aiming at this as long as we don't die. He throws these explosives at us, which do a ton of damage. Yeah, this is very annoying. Okay, just die, dude. Thank you. Anyways, now we get in here. We see a bunch of reused enemies because, of course, that has to be one of the video game tropes. And what we're trying to do is, since Matt Groening isn't helping us, we're trying to ask God to help us instead. And for this part, what I'm going to do is some more of these wall jumps to make it up that wall. And after that, we can then hit this lever, which will give us an autosave so we can quit out and go back in the game again. That way, when we load back in, we have the whole Simpsons family by us. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck fighting a bunch of enemies and just being very far away. So then I do want to take care of all these aliens because those guys are very annoying. And we can jump on this tree to skip a little section and move Homer over here first. I'm going to put him on this button. Then we can switch over to Marge. And just like last time, just do some tree jumps, make it over there, then switch to Bart. And a little bit more tree jumps, but we're not actually going to bring Lisa with us, so unlucky for her. But first of all, we got to get Bart and Homer on these buttons. Homer tries to come over towards me. He always does this. They love doing that in this game. But we have to do that so we don't get soft locked. Otherwise you will, because then we can bring all of this mob over here so we can fix up this building. I'm going to switch over to Homer since I will need him next, but that's going to make the building, and then Benjamin Franklin comes out. But he also says he won't help us, so that means we got to take him out, and we're going to start with Gummy Homer, just shooting him a couple times in the face, and that gets him into tinier forms, which then we want to use this ball power and try to get him hit. But a problem with this fight is there's just a lot of strong enemies, and yeah, they just completely destroy a few of my people. That is fine. That's why we did save Lisa. So now we can bring her over here and hopefully actually beat this dude. So I will be careful. Homer is able to get up. The problem with Benjamin Franklin is he just has a ton of health, but we can use one of those spins. We can start destroying these people. And there's just one left to do, so I'll start going over towards him. We can use Homer, who gets hit. And please, game, do not make me lose this. We'll use a couple of those, destroy these people, and how? Okay, second time is the try. This time, I'm just going to make sure with my Homer ball, I actually do this right. All we had to do was actually stomp on them correctly, and none of that would have happened. A little bit of a time loss, but my goal is a sub 210, so it's still fine. Now we can go in here. And in order to get God to help us, we have to win in Dance Dance Revolution, I guess. Yeah, there's not too much to explain about this part. You just have to hit the right buttons. But eventually, after we do 3 rounds of that, that's going to be time 207.46, which is also going to be 5th place on the speedrun leaderboards. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.